Hello, I wanted to make a video about Moonstone in case you didn't know the game, so that you can understand my TAS and also get familiar with this game, which is amazing in terms of design, graphics, playability, and it would be a shame if my TAS was the only thing that introduced the game to you and you don't get to know the full depth of it. So basically, this game was released for the Amiga and also for the OS in the 90s, I believe, and it can be described as a turn-based action RPG. You will understand what I mean with that when you see the game itself. Think about it as a tabletop game that is playable in a PC. So, to begin with the menu here, you can choose the number of players, and in fact, you can play up to 4 people in the same session. In this case, since I'm only one, I'm going to choose one, but you can play with your friends, or you could play with the friends at that time. And you can select whether you want gore or not. This displays blood and other types of funny stuff, but I will leave it on. You can practice fighting. I can quickly show what a duel looks like, but we may also fight in the game itself. So one of the knights here, with the controllers, you can play another one, and then you can whoever beats the other one wins the mini duel. You can even behead the player, which is funny, and that's it. Right, that's the practice session. And basically, that's the action part of the game where you get to fight against other knights or even different types of monsters. So to play the main part of the game, you select a knight. In this case, I'm going to select the yellow one, which is my favorite. You can even rename it. I just leave it. And this is the main the main game map. You will see it's divided amongst 4 regions. I don't recall the name of the regions. Let's call it desert, swamp, forest, and city. Or plains, perhaps. And in each of these regions, there is an equal amount of lairs, places where you can find challenges. So basically, a challenge is a set of monsters we have to defeat to get a reward. Another distinction between the places is each one of these 4 lands has a special place. In the case of the yellow area, if I can show it with the mouse, you have the mage tower here you can visit and you may receive a reward. In the plains, you have this high temple where you can also buy things and also do some activities. In the swamps, you also have a city that you can visit and also buy things and also have sorcerer improve your stats. And in the forest, you have the Temple of Manu, on which you can sacrifice one item and regain life. However, what's special about this one is that you can also this is where the game ends. So let's talk about the objective of the game. The main goal is to become immortal. And to become immortal, you have to sacrifice a Moonstone, hence the name of the game, in the Temple of Manu at the appropriate time, when the moon is in the same phase as the Moonstone. If you do that, that's the end of the game and you become immortal. But to get the Moonstone, you need to access I don't recall what the Valley of the Gods here in the middle, that you can only enter by using the 4 keys. And the 4 keys are one per section of the map. So you can find a key in any of these layers, and the position of the key is randomized, so you never know what you're gonna get. You may get it at first, but you may have to go over all the layers in the region to get it. But once you get all 4, you may enter the Valley of the Gods and fight a goddess that is guarding the Moonstone. So that's basically the gist of the game. Now, let me show you what it looks like when you enter a lair and what awaits you. So I'm currently now standing on my town. If you go to your town, you may recover HP and also life. But let's go to a lair here. And now I get to fight a monster. So I happen to know how to fight this guy, but if you don't know, you may be in trouble. Oh, he's not letting himself be attacked now. So okay, I hit him. It's about timing, right? So there I failed the timing, he hit me. And you may very easily die against these guys. So they are slow, but they are very fierce. I beat one. And the number of monsters is randomized. So I may fight one or two or three even. And the better you are in the game, the more stats you have, the more monsters you're gonna fight. So that's a motivation for a task to finish the game as soon as possible. So there, I died. I wanted to beat this layer, but no luck this time. But it's a good segue into the stats screen. So you can see your knight has different stats: strength, constitution, endurance. Strength is the more strength you have, the least amount of hits the enemies will require to die. Also the other knights. Constitution is the number of hit points you have, you can increase them, and endurance is your defense. Let's say how many hit points you lose for every time you get hit. Experience, every time you beat a layer, you get 1 point of experience that you can use to dedicate to one of these stats. Gold is what you use to buy things, and hit points, of course, is the HP you have. Then the number of lives you have, if you run out of lives, the game is over for you. Knives are throwable, daggers. You can throw them, but they are limited. And this is your sword you use, which is the first one is very weak, and your armor. The only effect the armor has is increases your HP. Right. So this, and then you have open space for all kinds of magic items that, for the task, is not too relevant. But if you're playing the game, they become really interesting. The things you can do. So you can fly. You can steal objects from your fellow knights. You can recover HP. You can recover life. You can reduce the damage you receive when you fight the dragon, for example. And dragon is a very nice component of the game that appears later. So now I lost my turn. The other players will start playing. The computer players will tend to go to attack you if you have a key, but otherwise they do their stuff. So let's try again. Beat this layer. So to beat these guys, you have to get the timing right, and hit them just as they land. If you try to attack them head on, they are quicker than you and they're stronger than you. So that's not a good hint to follow. Now I beat both of them, and in this layer the only thing I find is a ring of protection, increasing my HP, and then a scroll of hawk, which is very nice for the purpose of this presentation because I can use it to fly. And I will show you what you can get if you go to, for example, the High Temple. So now I'm flying, and I want to visit the High Temple. And when you go to High Temple, you can buy stuff. For example, this is very lucky. I found the Sword of Sharpness, which is the stronger one of the entire game. A bunch of talismans that use are protection against the dragon. Another flying scroll, etc. But you can go to also to the merchant and buy the default swords, which are this is the stronger one of the ones you can buy normally. You can buy armor, etc. You can also go to the healer to recoup HP and life, or you have to pay him, of course, and they have very little money. And you can also go to the tavern and try to get some money by gambling. You never win, so don't bother. But in at the end, this is the game. You go here and there. So here's where one of the CPU knights challenged me to a fight. They are very easy to beat and predictable. But if you're playing against a fellow friend, that becomes very fun to play. So after I beat a knight, I can steal something from them, and this is key in the task. Here he has nothing that I can steal. Perhaps the gold. Yes. With the steal mechanic, what can happen is that if the other player has a key that you need, you can steal it from them. Hence, you don't have to go and defeat all the layers. And this is very necessary for the TAS when we go to the Valley of the Gods. Right. There's the dragon. Hopefully, I want to show when he attacks me. If you go to the Valley of the Gods and you don't have a key, that's bad news. You cannot enter. So let's see if the dragon will attack me. Yeah, okay, here's the dragon. You will not see the dragon in the TAS, unfortunately, but if you play against him, it's very fun. And it's very difficult, unless you know how to handle him. If you know how to handle him, it's very easy. Even if you don't have good stats like I don't have now. So here we go. The key is not getting too close and not being... See what happens if you get too close. So you have to wait until he breathes fire and attack him like that. Again. And after a while, if you have the best sword of the game and you have very good stats, he only lasts for a few seconds. But here, since I'm just beginning, I can beat him anyway, but only cheesing. So let's see what he has. He has a lot of scrolls, and this is a scroll of haste, makes you run faster and longer. The scroll of acquisition is to steal something from other players without at a distance, and the scroll of the worm allows you to skip the dragon, but it's funny because it's the dragon himself giving it to me. The gem of seeing allows you to see what's in a lair, and then a lot of gold he has. So let's assume I steal everything. And that's the game. When you get all of the keys, you enter the Valley of the Gods, defeat the goddess, you get the Moonstone, and then you go to the Temple of Manu. Let me show you what happens. When you enter, as you enter, if you don't have the Moonstone, you may offer a magic item to be granted a life. Let's see if this... No, this doesn't help. It has to be one of the scrolls or a gem of seeing. But anyway, if I have the Moonstone will tell me which phase of the moon it corresponds to. And if you visit the Temple of Manu with the Moonstone at the given moment, it will grant you immortality. This mechanic that you need to be at the correct time is very interesting because even though you have won the game like by getting the Moonstone, you will not end the game until you are in the correct day of the week. And this allows the other players from stealing from you during that time. So it becomes a very frantic moment. If you have the Moonstone, you're going to be the recipient of all the attacks. And that's very fun. So this is the basics. Now I wanted to show you the task itself and how it looks like. How did I solve the game much faster than a normal gameplay. So let's go play I can advance it. So one key point is that I just played the game in DOS, and now I'm going to show you how it looks like in the Amiga. That task is with the Amiga. I didn't use DOS because libtask is a bit too complicated. Not complicated, but frustrating to use. And if I can use Task Studio for the same game, even if it's Amiga, I much rather use Amiga. So even though the loading times are a bit slower and there's not much more difference than that. So let's advance. And let's see where it begins. So to begin with, I play with 4 players. I control the entire game, and this allows me to do many more things in the same turn as opposed to being only one player and going all the way around the map to get the keys. So the beginning player, when you're 4, is the blue knight, and with the blue knight, I go to the first layer, and I didn't plan this. This isn't RNG manipulation. The first layer, even though I have to fight against too many of the enemies here, it could be as little as 1 of these. But here I have to fight, I think 6. You see, 3. Of course, perfect execution, not like myself as a player. And then, without RNG manipulation, immediately I get the first key. So this is very incredibly lucky. I didn't do anything to get this luck. And then I take the yellow player, I go to the first layer, the one we just played casually, and let me skip this. Here I play against 2 of these monsters, much better than I did normally. 2 of them. That's the end of the layer. And also I get the key at the first attempt. That's incredible. That's already unbelievable RNG. So I skip the turn with the green player. I also skip the turn with the red player because we're not gonna need them. The only thing we want from them is to just skip. And the way you skip is just going to your town and getting HP. So with the blue knight, I'm going to this layer here. which is also extremely lucky to be close to the middle. That's the key point. Otherwise, I would have to have used the green player, the green knight. So what you're going to see in this task is I only use the blue and the yellow, which reduces the amount of fights I need to perform to steal the keys from them. So basically, the idea is that the blue knight will get 2 keys, the yellow knight will get 2 keys, and only one fight will be needed for the yellow knight to steal the 2 keys from the blue knight. So with the yellow knight, I advance to the layer that contains the other key, but I don't reach there in time, so I need to skip one turn. Now, with the blue player, I have the blue knight. Sorry, I have 2 keys. I go to the center as soon as possible. I'm not gonna be able to enter, but at least I'm gonna be closer to the yellow knight. With the yellow knight, I get to this layer. I'm gonna fight an earth monster, I think. Let's advance a little bit. Yes, these monsters are terrifying. Not only because they look terrifying, but also because they are. One false movement and then you are dug into the earth, never to be seen again. So this is the most incredible part. Let me repeat that in case you didn't see it. Not only do I get the key, but I get the Sword of Sharpness. You cannot believe how impossibly lucky this is. To pick the key and Sword of Sharpness at the same time, in the same layer. But I do. And what the Sword of Sharpness is going to give me is I'm going to be able to kill the goddess of the valley much faster than with any other sword. And I didn't have even to buy anything. I didn't have to collect gold. I didn't have to buy a better sword. I'm getting the best sword of the game just on the way to the valley. So now with the blue knight, I'm losing time basically. I want to waste this turn and stay there for the yellow knight to fight me. And with the yellow knight, I think I selected the previous version of the movie, but it's okay. You're not going to see the blue knight moving. It's going to be old yellow knight. But when I submit this movie, you're going to see in TAS videos both of them move because thanks to Fails, I could use both controllers. But anyway, it doesn't change anything. Let's continue with this movie. And now I steal the 2 keys from the blue knight so that I can get all 4 keys to enter the Valley of the Gods, and I'm right there. So next turn I can enter and start playing against, fighting against the goddess of the temple. So skips all around. The blue knight will have to go back to its town to skip faster. So that's where I'm heading now with the blue knight. And now that everything's set for me to fight against the goddess of the valley, and this is how it looks like. Here the fight is very easy. If you attack at the right moment, she's not going to be able to hit you afterwards. So it's just attack with a certain rhythm until she dies. A bit of swagger, and then get out of here. The fight ends on its own, but I simulate exiting it from the side for entertainment purposes. So now everyone skips. Now that I have the keys, the Moonstone, sorry, and I head immediately towards the Temple of Manu. The Blue Knight gets closer to its lair, and then he can skip to its its town. Now everyone is in their town. I'm heading to the Temple of Manu, and hopefully it's the correct day. And it's not the correct day, so we need to skip days until it's the correct half moon. This is set by RNG, so which stage of the moon will the Moonstone be? And I don't think this is the best RNG. In fact, I'm sure it's not the best RNG because if I was the best, it would have been immediate. But given the spectacular RNG I got with the keys and the Sword of Sharpness, I would say it's worth the skipping part. So we need to skip turns until we do get the correct day. So I'm still getting into the Temple of Manu, getting out, getting in, getting out. So let's skip a little bit. So blue, red, next day. Okay. And this is the correct day now. after the Blue Knight skip, in that we can get to the Temple of Manu and finally finish the quest. And the last input is now, which is the skipping of this screen, and the rest of the movie is just the celebration, your conversion into a constellation, so you become immortal. So now there's a ceremony, dance, and then you sacrifice or you give tribute to the gods. The Moonstone, you get ascended into the skies and become a constellation of your own. You will see the rest of the movie when it's published, but I really wanted to give some context to the task because it goes so fast that perhaps you will not appreciate how nice of a game this is, and I hope this helps towards that. Thanks for watching.